Hey y'all. It's Tuzee from Tuzeemusic, and this is Tuzee Tuesdays, another episode of Tuzee Tuesday. Well, to be precise, it's episode 7 of Tuzee Tuesday. So if you're just joining us today, I say welcome to Tuzee Tuesday. This is a place where we get to have fun, we get to inspire each other, get to learn from each other, as well as getting to learning to love ourselves enough that we can love on others. So that is Tuzee Tuesday. That is the goal of Tuzee Tuesday. And like I always say, even though it says Tuzee Tuesday, it is to inspire each other. So even though it says Tuzee Tuesday, I absolutely welcome everyone's input as well. Okay? So I say welcome if you're just joining us for the first time. There's actually 6 other episodes for you to catch up on as well. So we have been digging in self-love. It has been an amazing 3 weeks actually, because we spent 3 episodes talking about self-love. Well, we did self-love and we talked about staying on a journey to self-love, and that took a couple episodes. So altogether it was 3 weeks of digging into self-love. It was actually really fun. I learned so much. I hope you did too. And it's been really fun just exploring things to help myself, to help stay on the journey to self-love. We are still doing the challenge. There was a challenge that we are writing like 5 things we love about ourselves every day. Possibly if you can do it every day, that's great. However, if you skip a day, we did say you can always come back and make it up. So don't be too hard on yourself. We are just trying to figure out 5 things we love about ourselves. And it has been really fun. So if you haven't started, try it out. Get a journal and write 5 things you love about yourself every day. And like we said, it can be repetitive. So try that out. But anyways, those were all last week and a few weeks ago. Well, today we are going to talk something a little different. Of course, as usual, all of the topics does intertwine. So we are not really talking about self-love today a whole lot, but this is a topic that just might link to self-love as well. So like I was saying, it is week 7, guys, of Tuzee Tuesdays. And our topic for today is getting to know yourself. I'll say that again, getting to know yourself. So how much do you know yourself? Yeah, that's kind of a interesting question, because you're thinking, oh, I know myself. Like, well, I know my name, I know my date of birth, I know my place of birth, I know stuff like that. But there's a little more than that, than just knowing your name, where you were born, and stuff like that. So we're going to be going into a little more than that. But I want to start this episode with a quote, a very popular quote from Aristotle. I think that's how you say it. But anyways, it's a very, very popular quote. And here it goes. It says, knowing oneself is the beginning of wisdom. That's pretty awesome stuff. Like, knowing oneself is the beginning of wisdom. So today is all about adding wisdom, people. You ready for this? Anyways, so today we are going to be adding wisdom to ourselves. And just before we go digging into getting to know ourselves, as usual, it's Tuesday joke time. Yes. So this joke is about a man, his wife, and his mother-in-law. So they're all on vacation. This year they decided to go to the Holy Land for vacation. While out there on vacationing, the mother-in-law got sick and passed away. So while going through what to do, the undertaker came and told them, to fly your mother-in-law back, the body back, is going to cost $5,000 from where you're from. However, we do have a land here in the Holy Land that is going to cost like $150 if you buried her here. So the son-in-law, he and his wife sat down and they're thinking about it, especially the son-in-law. And then after a little while of thinking, he told the undertaker, well, it's okay. We're going to just ship the body back to where we're from. And the undertaker couldn't understand it. He's like, it's $5,000 to fly her back, and you can bury her here for $150. So he's like, why? Why do you want to ship her body back? So the man replied, and he said, a man died here 2,000 years ago, died and was buried here 2,000 years ago, and 3 days later he rose from the dead. I just can't take any chances. Well, I guess mother-in-laws and all the in-laws have to be good to your son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws. Oh my goodness, it's so funny. Well, guys, that's the whole point of Tuzee Tuesday. I hope you laughed. That's the whole point of Tuzee Tuesday. We have to share some laughs sometimes. Okay, so I hope you laughed because I thought it was a funny joke. Anyways, moving on to our topic for today. So, like I said, today we are adding wisdom to ourselves. Like Aristotle said, the beginning of wisdom is getting to know yourself. It's knowing yourself. So, knowing yourself, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean when you hear knowing yourself? Like I said, of course, I know my name. Yeah, obviously. I know where I was born. I know my date of birth and stuff. I know my birthday and stuff like that. That's kind of knowing myself a little bit, but there's more to knowing yourself than just those things. So today we're going to be talking a little more about that. So digging in, knowing yourself means, so there's a lot of different things, but there's a few things that I want to cover in this topic today just because of time-wise. So knowing yourself means understanding your strength and weaknesses. I'll say that again. Knowing yourself means understanding your strength and weaknesses. Have you ever actually gone to a job interview and you've been asked that question about your strength and weaknesses? It's like, half of the time, like, to be honest, half of the time I have so many things to talk about my strength. Like, that's just it. I'm bang on. But when it comes to the weaknesses part, it's like, and then you read all these interview things, like, make sure you don't make yourself sound so weak with your weaknesses. You got to sell your weakness as almost like a strength kind of thing. So, anyways, have you ever been asked that question? When I was preparing for this, I figured out, like, I know when I had interviews, it's like, oh, it's probably just the way of not giving you the job. They already have you thought if you go telling them all your weaknesses, it's probably not so good for you. Of course, I'm not telling you to tell your employer all of your weaknesses. However, it is great to know your weaknesses and your strength as well. So yeah, get to know your weaknesses and your strength. So when I was preparing for this, like I was saying, I figured out when an employer asks you that, like a fair employer, just let's get that, they actually just want to know the real you, because strength and weaknesses actually defines yourself. What kind of person you are. Of course, like I said before, don't go selling yourself short. You have strength and weaknesses. So to get into knowing yourself, you know your weaknesses and your strength. Also, you know your passion and fears. So you know what you're passionate about, when you know yourself. And you also understand what scares you, okay? As well as you know your desires and your dreams. It's not like it changes at times, but you kind of have like your desire and dreams, And it also means being aware of your likes and dislikes, of things that you like and things that you don't like. When you know yourself enough, you know that. When I was preparing for this, I actually just thought I would have to share this because this is from a movie. A very pretty cool movie. This is a movie. It's called The Runaway Bride. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it's a good watch. It's pretty funny. It is the main characters is Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. Yeah, Richard Gere, one of my favorite characters of all times. And I'm gonna go into all the details, but he's in this movie with Julia Roberts, and there's a part in this movie where, after he figured out that he actually likes her, I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but there's a part after he figured this out, and he's talking to her because it's like, and he says to her, you don't even know what kind of egg you like. When you were with Paul, I'm just going to make up names. They all have different names, but I can't remember their exact names right now. So he said, when you were with that guy, because in this movie, she ran away from so many different weddings, right? But he said, when you're with this guy, you like scrambled egg. When you're with the other guy, you like over easy. You're with this person, you like, so like her likes kept changing every time based on who she was with. So that's what he was trying to say. So knowing yourself means knowing what you like and what you do not like. And there's a part in the movie where she's actually eventually discovered what is her favorite type of egg that she actually likes. So it's pretty cool. So knowing yourself, understanding your likes and dislike. And knowing yourself also has to do with knowing your purpose and values in life. So just going back to weaknesses and strength, this is a little, like I was saying from the beginning, like job interviews, I can't pinpoint like weaknesses. However, growing up, one weakness, I still struggle with it at that time, that I had, that I knew very well that I had, was confrontation. I don't know. There's something about it that scares me every time, and even in growing up with my siblings, back in school days, like way back in the day. Why am I making myself sound like I'm so old? But no, in school days. So, people pick on you, and then I will come home like crying, but I had this wonderful older sister, and she was a tomboy, like no one messes with her sister, so came home crying, and she always was the one I ran to go do the confrontation for me. But I always had trouble with confronting people because I had this in my mind that I was like, maybe I was going to offend them, maybe, there's just so much, maybe they just, so many things ran through my mind, so I avoided it at all costs. And I remember going to job interviews, and that used to be my biggest thing. It's like, what's your weakness? It's like confrontation. Well, you are a nurse. You're going to be in confrontation like every single time. So how you plan to deal with that? But then the cool thing, though, that I've learned growing up and becoming a nurse and everything is that confrontation is actually not a bad thing. It's not as bad like I painted it, being in confrontation with someone, it makes me a bad person. It's actually great to have confrontation sometimes. Confrontation can lead to knowledge and some cool stuff. Research it. If you want like me that don't like confrontations, research it. You're probably going to be on top of it. Like now, I don't say I go looking for confrontation. However, if you step on my feet, you don't need to apologize to me, but I will tell you stepped on my foot. So anyways, so confrontation, knowing our weaknesses and strength is a great thing. And, there's also a part in this note that I added. It says, stop lying to yourself. A lot of us, we don't like to share our weaknesses because we think like when we say, just because you have weaknesses doesn't mean you're weak. Because that is a lie. Just because you have weaknesses does not make you a weak person. So a lot of us, we hide our weaknesses and always want to talk about our strength and stuff. But weaknesses is just a part of who you are. Like, it's great to know those things because when you know your weaknesses, you can find strength in like actually overcoming them if you have to. And if you cannot overcome them, you actually figure out a way to do a detour around them. But the only way you can do that if you actually know it, right? So know your weaknesses, and as well as your strength. Okay, so there's a lot of great things that we just cover about getting to know yourself. Like your passion and stuff. What actually moves you. What do you want to do? Like, what do you look forward to doing? Like stuff like that. And and of course, your likes and dislikes. So why do you need to know yourself? Why is it important? Why do we need to know more than just our name, date of birth, and where we were born? Why do we want to go in deeper, knowing our strengths, our weaknesses, our desire, our dreams, our likes and dislikes, and all those things that we just talked about? Why do we need to know that? Because, guys, there's a secret. There are a lot of perks when you know yourself. There's some really cool perks. I didn't say that right. There's a lot of perks when you know yourself. So here we go. Let me tell you some of the really cool stuff that you get to have when you know yourself. So number one thing, happiness. Happiness, when you get to know yourself for who you are happier. You're a happier person when you know yourself. You feel free to express yourself, and that's beautiful, when you can literally be happy expressing who you are as yourself. It's amazing. So it brings you happiness. You're happier when you know yourself. Also, another great thing about knowing yourself, you are able to make decisions. Your decision making skill is enlightened, so you can make good decisions. So you make better decisions, better choices. Like, for example, from like let's just go to as little as like what clothes to wear. Like, you going out, what should I wear? You know what you look good in, because you know yourself very well. So from even picking your clothes that you're gonna wear to figuring out who you want to become in the future. So when you know yourself, you can actually boldly decide those things. Okay, so let's go back to weaknesses and strengths. So let's say your weakness is like you're somebody who, like, as you guys know, I'm a full-time nurse, singer-songwriter, but I have a sister that's absolutely, she does not like anything to do with medications, nothing to do with blood, and then, she says, growing up, this is just an example, that she wants to be a nurse or a doctor or like a surgeon. You know very well if you know that's your weakness, why go into that, right? Obviously, she's a secretary and she does amazingly, absolutely amazing at what she does. But I'm just saying that when you know your weaknesses and your strength, then you can actually make like great decisions based on those things, which is actually beautiful. So knowing yourself, you're happier, you can make good decisions. There's still more great stuff. When you know yourself, your self-control is better. Your self-control is a lot better because you understand what escalates you and you know what calms you. So, like we were talking about comfort food and pet peeves and all this stuff in our last few episodes. Because you understand your pet peeves, you know them very well, and you know very well what calms you. So your self-control is a lot better when you know yourself. And there's still more perks. Knowing yourself, guys, you can boldly say no. Remember I think it was last episode, I think it was the fifth week, episode 5. We're talking about, learning to say no. When you know yourself enough, you can boldly say no. And as well as yes. So you can stop being like a people pleaser. We talk about you become a people pleaser and you can't say no to things because you're always worried about the next person. But when you know yourself enough, you can say no. This is a little thing, in nursing school. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but when we did pharmacology, I think it was the first or second year, I can't remember exactly. It's been some time now. But anyways, there was this pharmacology math that we were doing, and we got an assignment. And I'm not calling myself a math genius or anything, but we got this assignment, and I spent a lot of time on this. Like, if you know anything about me, if there's something that I don't understand, I go to the extra mile to get that right. So anyways, I'm like studying and overstudying, And I did this assignment. However, there was a question that I could not get the answer that the book was saying was the right answer. So I worked it, I went back and forth, and every time I did it, I got my own answer and I was like, either the book is wrong or I'm doing something wrong. So I went over it again, did it again. Long story short, went to my teacher and I told her, this is the answer I got. And she's like, that's not the answer. You know the answer of the book. And she probably marked me a fail. And I told her, no, that particular answer in that book has to be wrong because I know I did everything I could. And she's like, how can the book be wrong? And almost everyone in the class got the answer from the book. I don't know how, but everyone had that answer. My answer was so different. But I was confident and I was like, I did everything. I'm pretty sure I did it right. I didn't just come up. But anyways, long story short, at the end of the semester, that book was recalled because there was at least 50% of the answers in that book that was wrong. So when you know yourself, you can boldly say no and yes. And believe me, knowing yourself, it sounds like an easy thing, but no, just like we said, self-love is a journey. Knowing yourself is the same. It takes practice. You gotta, like I said, she had to try, like in Runaway Bride, after he told her that, she had to try a bunch of different eggs and actually figure out what actually is the egg that I love the most. It's a process. So it might sound easy, but it's not that easy. So when you know yourself, you can boldly say no and you can say yes. Okay? So even if someone asks you about a job and tell you, can you do that? You can boldly say, yes, I can do it. Or you can say, no, I can't do it. And then you can ask for help. It's not like, no, I can't do it, don't give me that job. But you can ask for extra help because you can't do it on your own. That's because you know yourself. Okay, so knowing yourself is also great because you can say no. As well as saying no in that piece, you can resist pressure from social media when you know yourself. Our world right now is all about social media. Everything's out there. The best makeup, the best this, I don't know. Everything's out there. But when you know yourself, you know when it's like, nope. No, you can say no, or you can say, oh, this is great, and you can say, no, this is not so great for me, and you can be yourself. So the pressure from social media is not as heavy on you because you know who you are and you know yourself. You're not a people pleaser. You are you. Also, another great thing about knowing yourself, guys, I told you there's a lot of perks. Another great thing about knowing yourself, you are tolerant and empathetic to others, right? Because the cool thing about understanding yourself, you understand the fact that we all are not perfect because you've been there. You're going to know that I have weaknesses. This person just screwed up something, but you know what? I screwed up something before. So you're able to put yourself in their shoes when you know yourself. And you understand that we all make mistakes. Another great thing about knowing yourself is you become more alive. There's so much life in you when you know yourself, because where does life come from? You can be yourself. There's nothing that is more draining. I'm not kidding. Nothing's more draining than trying to live for people. It is so draining. But once you figure out how to actually be yourself, and love yourself for yourself, like we said in last week's episode, you feel alive. You don't need to lie about yourself, You don't need to say things that everybody's going to be like, oh, this amazing person. You can tell people, sometimes I messed up too. I'm not like all 99, 100% all the time. There's times that and you feel proud about it, and you feel good about saying it, and that makes you alive. You can breathe better, you can be you. But those are some really good perks about knowing yourself. Like I told you, there are lots of perks, and I could keep going like a long list, but you can see for yourself that when you know yourself, you are more confident, you live better, you are happier. Like we said, your self-control is better, and you can honestly say no and not feel bad about it. So there, when I was preparing this note, I looked up Psychology Today. It's like a website. It's really cool website actually, because when I was going through this, just looking through things about like knowing yourself, and I found on that website there's something called building block to self. And it's really cool because they call it vital signs. If you know what vital signs are, being a nurse, I think I find it even more cool because it's like it's a nursing term, like a term we use. And vital signs is like stuff that we look at. You know, when you talk vital signs, you're talking your blood pressure, you're talking your temperature, you're talking like vital signs, signs that tell us, oh, this person is okay, they can stay in this room, or signs that tell us, no, send this person to ICU, they need more help. And they call it vital signs. So we don't have as much time to go through every single one of them, but if you have time, go to Psychology Today, because it's pretty cool. Like they said the V is like values, you know, understanding your values, and I is like your interest, T your temperament, and you know, and they just give different little pieces about the whole vital signs, and it's really cool. But guys, there's a lot of perks when you get to know yourself. It's amazing to know yourself. And like we said, it's more than just knowing your name. You know, get to know, like, you know, maybe I'm talking about this right now and you're like, oh, Tuzee, I don't even know, you know, I don't know my strength, I don't know weaknesses. That's okay. Get to know it. Like, be like Julia Roberts and have like 5 different type of eggs and try it all out and see which one you like. You know, find your strength and find your weaknesses, because once you find those out, you know, like I said, you will become a happier person. And there's not just your strength and weakness. Find your passion as well, and know what makes you afraid. Know what makes you feel empowered. And but guys, we're running out of time right now. So like I said, I won't go too much into big details about the vital signs building block to self. But when you have time, please check it out. It's actually a really good read. So in closing, I just want to go back to that quote that knowing yourself, right? Let me just go back to the quote because I want to say it properly. Knowing oneself is the beginning of wisdom. And we've been talking about it. You can totally tell through it that when you know yourself, he wasn't joking. It is the beginning of wisdom. So you know what? Be good to yourself. Learn about yourself. It's okay. Learn about yourself. You know, we always talking about other people, trying to figure out what this other person is thinking, but get to know yourself. Because when you know yourself, there is strength, there is power, there is happiness in it. And it's amazing. Like, it is absolutely amazing. And so guys, this is our show for today. Once again, this has been Tuzee from Tuzeemusic, and this was Tuzee Tuesday, episode 7. Getting to know yourself. Love you guys, and thanks again for watching. We'll be back here next week, Tuesday. Bye for now. Mwah.